Hello, everybody, and welcome to our channel. I'm Mark,
I'm Rob.
and today we're going to talk about the Indiana Fever's resounding victory over the Chicago Sky, 100-81. And hey, if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please do so and hit the notification bell when you do, because Rob wants 4,000 subscribers, and Rob always gets what he wants, and he gets angry if he doesn't. So please hit that notification bell when you do. You're notified of our next videos. Anyways, last night, I don't think it was a surprise in any way because Kennedy Carter didn't play, and she's their best player. And the Fever's better than the Sky. And they've been playing well, so I wasn't surprised at all at the result, but Rob.
They started out not that great. They had to figure out that they got to guard the players that are shooting threes. They were kind of packing it in on the inside because they were worried about Caruso and Reese. That left three-point shooters wide open, and they were hitting the shots in the beginning. But after a while, they cooled off and back to normal. And then they started running the ball, actually pushing the ball up the court. And that helped because I don't think the Fever is they're not that good a shape as the players, as the Fever players.
Yeah, Chicago came out with more energy than Indiana Fever, and they were actually running more than the Fever was. And they have two quick guards who Carter wasn't there, so they started Lindsay Allen and Michaela. I can't pronounce her last name, and they were quick guards. But they need to get back and stop those threes. There was too many open threes in the beginning of the game. And of course, Rob, she didn't start Temi, and she knew that Angel Reese owned Melissa Smith last game. And she knew that was going to be a problem, and she didn't counter that by starting Temi. And of course, they get off to a bad start. I think that was part of the reason too, Rob.
Right. But then Chicago's, their defense was horrible. And I really admire the Fever. They knew that. And they were getting a lot of backdoors. Backdoor, even if they missed them, but they were just cutting backdoor and the little bounce pass and getting the layups. Mitchell had a lot of opportunities. He was way quicker.
Kelsey Mitchell has perfected that backdoor, and also Lexi Hall knows to do it also. I think the key part of about this game is that the Fever are for real, because now they're not losing to teams they shouldn't lose to. And Caitlin Clark is clearly the Rookie of the Year and a top MVP candidate. And so stop the discussion on the Rookie of the Year. It's a 100% now. Maybe it was 99.9 before. It's 100% over. And it's also 100% that she's an MVP candidate. Like top 5, I think the Las Vegas odds are she's 3rd right now. And I think that's about where she belongs. Nafisa Collier's playing great, and their team is winning. And Asia Wilson's playing great, although the team is so-so right now. But Caitlin Clark is up there. If she doesn't come at least 3rd in the MVP voting, Rob, I'd be upset.
Well, I want to give a shout out to Coach Mark for this game. Mark, you got both Hull and Smith going. First, you started criticizing Hull for not shooting her threes. She wasn't shooting her threes. And after you said that, she started making her threes. And then you started getting on Smith's case because she was blowing layup after layup. And you got after her also. And after you got after her, Mark, she started playing. Mark, you taught that little floater, right? You taught her that floater shot.
She's listening. Now, I was just surprised at Lexi Hall. There was twice, and I don't know if it was, I think they were both in the second half, where she was not wide open for a three because the person was closing in on her, but open enough that she should have taken the three. And considering she's hot, I was surprised that she didn't shoot the three. And, she's not good at driving the basket and scoring when someone is underneath the basket. She's fine on layups. So I don't know what benefit of do faking the three and then driving in, because she's not a particularly good passer either. So
right, you got after her, Mark. You got after her.
I don't know why she passed up those threes. And Clark passed up a three. I don't know why she passed up a three either when she could have taken a three. But they're shot well in threes. So that shows that they had good selection on their threes. So, I'll back that up. They were 44% on threes yesterday. Mm-hmm. And the Chicago Sky cooled off. They went down to 36%, but they hit a bunch of threes in the first quarter, and they got off to a 13-point start. But I will give the credit to the Fever for keeping their composure after the poor start. And it was basically Clark pushing the tempo and Kelsey Mitchell and Clark playing well. And Hall's defense.
Also leaving a proper lineup in there, that helped a whole lot. I think
Well, they
finally.
did turn it around before they put in Temi, but they turned it around even more when Temi got in there. They started
Right.
turning around before Temi went in there, but then she continued it. Temi only played 18 minutes, but she was at plus 29, Ralph.
Yeah.
I mean, she can't hit her shot because I think her thumb is still bothering her, but the rest of her game is all there. Like, look at this. In 18 minutes, which I maintain she should be playing more. I know she's not all the way back. She had 5 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, and 2 blocks. Rob,
Right.
just in that. She only scored 3 points, but she means so much with her on-ball defense because Angel Reese only had 5 points until the game was essentially over with. And why? Because Temi played really good defense on her when she was in there.
Right. They played a nice job on the interior defense and frustrating both the big people inside, Caruso and Reese. She didn't do that well. She rebounded. The only thing that was bothering me is that they were getting the Sky were getting a lot of offensive rebounds. And luckily they weren't making their shots, but there was this one sequence where they had like 5 straight offensive rebounds. I'm like, get the rebound.
So. Right. That was so the offensive rebounds for the game, Indiana Fever only got 5 and the Sky got 13. So you're correct on that, Rob. There was 31 rebounds to 42. Again, Chicago Sky had the advantage. So, yes, they weren't rebounding as well. They've been rebounding well the last couple of games, so that kind of surprises me. But, I know with Reese and Cardozo, that is a problem. Melissa Smith ended up with 14 points. She played a poor first half, but a good second half. She did end up with 17 rebounds, and she was 5 for 8.
That's because you yelled, Mark. You got after her. That's why she got better. I'm telling you.
She hit a 3. She was 1 for 2. Now, Boston, I'm not going to blame her because 6'7" is still 6'7", and that's a tough matchup for Boston because she doesn't have real post moves. You know what I mean? She doesn't have any fancy post moves.
Yeah, her
so
footwork is not that good. Yeah,
what's that, Rob?
Her footwork is not that good.
No, and she doesn't have any really post moves. It's more like a spin around move and maybe off the backboard layup type of thing. That's not much else. But so that's hard when she has someone that's covering her that's 2 to 3 inches taller than her. And even Cardozo gave Asia Wilson a hard time because she's got that size and she knows how to block things. So she only had 1 block, but she had 5 against the Aces the other night.
It's just an intimidating factor for being in there.
Right. She altered shots. Yeah. So Boston was in foul trouble. She only played 22 minutes, only had 7 points, but she did get 5 rebounds, a couple great assists, 4 assists, and 3 steals and a block. So she contributed. She found a way to contribute, Rob.
Right.
Kelsey Mitchell was Kelsey Mitchell, and Kelsey Mitchell's playing better by the game, Rob. The last 3 games, she played really well with Caitlin Clark, and she's even passes to Caitlin Clark. She passes to other people even a little bit. She only got 1 assist, but she does give up the ball. It's not dribble, and then drive to the basket. And she's 23 points, 9 for 13, 3 for 5 for threes. I guess she's realizing, Rob, the benefit of Caitlin Clark. She goes, okay, Caitlin Clark's going to give me some wide open threes and my shooting percentage is going to go up.
She looks like she's, compared to what I've seen her at the beginning of the year, she looks like she's having fun and she's enjoying, again, the basketball game. And she, like I said, she's like, cool, Clark's giving me the pass. So she might, if I were her, if she wants to leave, I don't think she would want to leave this team. She won't get the same opportunities in other teams.
No, I think she actually likes Caitlin Clark now. I think she resented Caitlin Clark when she first came on the team because she considered herself the star of the team. She'd been with that team for a while, and she was an all-star. And I remember they asked her about Caitlin Clark not making the Olympic team. She just rolled her eyes like, why aren't you asking me about why I'm not in the Olympic team? I could just tell she resented Caitlin Clark at first. And now she realizes the benefit of Caitlin Clark, and they're winning, and everybody gets happy when they're winning.
Well, because she's still getting her points. She's still getting her number of shots.
Easier points, Rob.
Yeah, exactly. Points. Yeah.
And Lexi Hall finally started again 2 games in a row. And of course, she showed she should be starting 3 for 4 from threes, Rob, 3 for 6. And she gives a hustle play, 3 rebounds, assists, a steal, only 11 points, but her on-ball defense, as you pointed out before, is just fantastic.
Yeah, she helps a lot. With her and Teamy in there, it helps out a lot in the defense and on the outside and interior defense.
Wheeler was only 1 for 5, but she actually played pretty decent, believe it or not. 21 minutes, and she had 4 assists and 3 rebounds, a steal, a block. She only had 2 points, but
I'm going to record this tape. Mark actually said Wheeler had a good game. I'm writing.
No, I
this
didn't
down.
say she played okay. She didn't hurt him.
Oh, sorry. Let me cross it out. Mark says she played okay. August 31st. Okay,
Yeah,
got it.
She played pretty decent. They were plus 12 with her in there, Rod. That she didn't like. They didn't like lose the hole, but I mean they were plus 19 for the game. So
Yeah, she was out there with Clark, and nothing really. I mean, this is the kind of game, Mark. We all of us who were watching, we were waiting for that one thing to happen. Like, okay, they got the lead. Wheeler's in. Smith.
I was afraid. But she made a really nice. She drove towards the basket. She was in the middle of the key, and she looked back and she hit Clark for a logo 3. That was a really nice pass. She might not have made that in the beginning of the year.
But we're all on pins and needles, watching. It's like, okay, when are the Heat going to falter? They're up by 14. At the third quarter, we've seen this before, but they came through, which is great. They're starting to realize they could actually win these games and not have to be down and lose the lead. They actually finally took hold of the lead and stuck with it.
Right, and even though sides didn't start Temi, I'll give her credit for putting her in the fourth quarter when they had the lead and they needed to hold it, because all they needed by the point was defense, and they put her in instead of Smith, and that was the right move. But I would have started her and maybe not play her as many minutes as everybody else, but I still would have started her, so they would go off to a better start. And because Reese owned Smith last time.
Yeah, so the Fever are looking like the team that you don't want to play in the playoffs. They're looking like that.
Oh, I wouldn't want to play them at all. I wouldn't care what team it was, Rob. I wouldn't want to play. I'm not making any predictions because they're a young team. And like I said, obviously the New York Liberty and the Connecticut Sun and the Phoenix Lynx are very, very good teams. They're going to be tough to beat. Whether it's a short series or a long series, it wouldn't matter. They'd be a tough team to beat, especially they get the home court advantage and everything, which is not much of a home court advantage against the Indiana.
Yeah, when you put Clark's try, that's what they said. A little dig towards the sky. The players are saying, "Seems like a home game to us."
Clark got a standing ovation too. So
yeah, when was it? There was never. I've never ever had a player who dropped 30 points or 50 points on my team have our crowd stand up for her.
That's not her first. That's not her first standing ovation this year either.
In all the sports I've watched, I've never seen the home team stand up for a quarterback who threw over 500 yards or a player who hit like 3 or 4 home runs on my team, and we stand up and cheer them. I've never seen that.
Let's get to Christy Sides for a second. I don't know if it's hard. They don't always show the sidelines that often when you're watching the game. You usually can't see the coach, but at times you can. And it seemed like she was micromanaging the team almost all year. But the last couple games, she's backed off and let Clark run it. And they've been playing better since she just quit trying to, tell them to do something every play. Well, they play better when they're not listening to her, in other words.
Yeah, I've noticed that. I've noticed her and Clark going over. And I think she's even said that she's gone to Clark and asked her what kind of play she wants to run, or Clark just is directing the players. Like you saw those back doors. She threw the ball when they got into that half-court offense, which we hate. But against the Sky, she was coming down when they were doing it slow and then directing the players. And then Mitchell went back door, Lexi went back door, a little movement.
So in the beginning of the year, or for most of the year, she's been like that, Rob, where her ego was at stake, her immaturity, her insecurity. She was worried that Caitlin Clark was going to get the credit. And now she's not worried about it right now. She's letting Caitlin Clark get the credit, even though she knows she's going to get the credit now. So she figured out if they win, Caitlin Clark will get credit, but she'll also get credit. She's figured that out now. It's just like Mitchell figured out, okay, yeah, Caitlin Clark gets a lot of publicity, gets a lot of credit, but guess what? My game's going to flourish too, and the team's going to win, and then I'll be happy because Kelsey Mitchell's never been in the playoffs before, I understand. So she figured
Mitchell
that out.
Is like they're best buds now. They really, Boston is, of course, always accepted Caitlin right away, but Mitchell is. They're like when they're in the post interviews, she's slapping her and smiling.
Oh yeah, we talk about that one post interview. In that last interview, Lexi Hall was talking about a rebounder. I was just trying to get my hands on as many balls as possible. And Caitlin Clark put her head down and started laughing. And then Kelsey Mitchell started laughing, and Lexi Hall got all red and said, "Caitlin," and then Caitlin slapped her. You can see the team has chemistry now, and I guess you have to give Side some of that credit. But also, I'm going to give Caitlin Clark some of that credit, believe it or not. I know we always give her a lot of credit, but
it's rubbing off, Mark. It is. I'm sorry to interrupt you. It's rubbing off. I mean, when you get that's what we've been saying the whole year. Or if you've watched Caitlin Clark's game growing up in college, whatever, that kind of enthusiasm or that kind of confidence and getting the team together rubs off on you as a player, and that's why basketball is a team game, not individual game. When you see, she's behind her, getting the crowd going. I mean, as teammates, you just sit there like, "Well, I got her back," and then also with the way she went through all this, the team bonded with all these people saying things against her for no reason. So yeah, the team has bonded that way with her.
Yeah, putting Boston, Samuelson, and Hall aside, I think the other 8 players kind of resented her. Maybe not Berger either, but like a decent number of players resented her because of all the attention she got. And I think now the whole team is on board with her. And why? Because what she did is she took the high road. She was nice. She gave compliments to her teammates, and she makes sure she sets up her teammates. And she's like not being shoot first, and she's making sure she's making a lot of assists for them and trusting her teammates. And I think that shows that they appreciate what she's doing, and they have confidence in her now. And they have, when you're winning, guess what? Everybody's happier.
Right. Well, and confidence in themselves. Like this game is a really key game for them because usually they give up the lead or they make the lead, or the lead goes down to 2 points or they lose it. But this game, they didn't lose it. They had the confidence and they were like, we're not going to let them come back.
All right. Unfortunately, we have to talk about the refs again. All right. So the refs were awful, and they take way too long in the replays. But the worst call ever was Dantas. A ball bounced into her hand. She caught it. The defender reached in to try to get the ball. I don't know if it was a foul on Dantas, but she looked like she hit Dantas's arm as she was catching the ball. And then magically, I have no idea where this came from. A foul was called on Dantas when she did nothing but catch the ball and try to hang on to it when a person reached in. That's literally all that happened.
The ball bounced into her hands, and the player was like, "Oh," and then tried to grab it. But where was the foul? Where was Dantas fouling the ball? It's like, oh, it was like one of those things. I got the ball.
She didn't do anything. She basically just tried to hang on to the ball.
It
wasn't like she went like this and elbowed the person or like that. It wasn't anything close. So on the replay, it took them like 8 minutes to figure out the simple thing. And I guess they were trying to determine like what happens with the ball, but I thought it was obvious. Dantas had possession of the ball. It just goes ball out of bounds. And I don't even ref basketball. I just like, it was out of bounds. And that's what happened. Yeah. Like these refs are so incompetent.
Yeah.
Clark got shoved to the ground by Diamond to Shields, and it was an obvious, to me, flagrant 1 call because it wasn't a basketball play. She ran into her, and in the second angle that we saw, Rob, it was worse than the initial angle that we saw.
Well, there were the first one she did to her is when it was like just a basic foul when it was out of bounds play, and then the Shields was kind of impeding her like you do in soccer. So yeah, that was a foul. That's okay. But then she did it. Not once, but twice. But then the third time, that one, it should have been flagrant. She just wasn't even going for the ball, just like ran her over and knocked her over in the ground. And she wasn't faking. She freaking ran her over. And she's trying to help her up. I'm like, no, you're nice try.
So it's my understanding, if you lip read Caitlin Clark, she said, I want to effing punch her in the mouth, is what she said on the side. She ran away from DeShields because she knew that DeShields was trying to get a technical on her or get her thrown out of the game. So she knew what was happening. Clark was brilliant in that situation, Rob. She ran away from the person so she wouldn't confront her because she knows she has 7 technicals. And if she gets 2 more, she's going to get a suspension.
Yeah, the sky they were playing I've played against I've coached and played against people like that. When they're losing big time, they started playing really dirty. I thought they were playing really dirty and thuggery basketball after that.
She was fouling.
Clark. Yeah, not just on Clark, but on all the FIFA players, but particularly on Clark.
She was fouling Clark. Clearly, she was bodying her up. And then she kept getting called for it, and she was upset. Clark was getting the calls. Well, they were fouls. Each one was a foul. They showed the replays on the one who was like just bodied her. It's like she got 5 fouls in a few minutes that she played because she was not playing real defense. She was just playing physical defense. She might think that's defense, but it's not.
No, and then Reese on that one of them, you can hear Reese saying, "Oh, don't worry about it. She always gets the special calls." Reese has the nerve to say that. She's getting special calls.
Rob, Caitlin Clark has not got special calls the entire year. She's been on the short side of calls the entire year. And Angel Reese gets away with a lot when she goes for rebounds. She goes over the top. She elbows people. She pushes people. And she gets away with it. And she's the only rookie I know who gets the benefit of the calls. And she's complaining about Caitlin Clark.
Right. I was like, yeah, right.
She's delusional. Caitlin Clark does not get the benefit of the calls. The whole year they've been against her. Now, it may change next year, and she's a bigger star. I mean, they finally accept her in the league. But last night, I thought they were fair. They were fair with Caitlin Clark. But usually, no, she gets shortchanged on calls. So Reese is delusional. And Reese has a lot of nerve saying that because I think she gets the benefit of too many calls. And so, anyways, but the refs, I have no idea what's going on. But Clark, by the way, Clark made some great passes. One to Temi as she was cutting, and she had. We didn't even go over Clark's stats, by the way. We didn't. It was obvious. Everybody knows what she had at this point, but I guess I got sidetracked. Clark played fantastic. It might have been her best game ever. So I don't know. The stats were 8 for 14, 5 for 9, 10 for 3 at the free throw line, 12 assists, 4 rebounds, a steal, and only 3 turnovers. And one was actually a kick ball. It should have been called a kick ball. She really only should have had 2 turnovers. And another one was behind the back pass that I think she was just doing for fun when the game was out of reach to Temi. And it was almost there. Temi didn't quite get to it. But that was – and she had a heat check 3 too. And so maybe she was 5 for 9. She was hitting her threes. So if she starts hitting her threes, Rob, the league's in trouble on a regular basis.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So right now, I mean, that really opens things up, as you can see, for their offense. When she's hitting their threes, it just opens up.
So the Fever are now, are they tied? They're tied for 6th place now?
Well, they're actually in 6th place because they beat Phoenix 3 times out of 3. So obviously they have a tiebreaker. So they would only have to be 2-1 against them. They'd have the tiebreaker. It's pretty clear they're going to play Connecticut Sun or the Minnesota Lynx. But it could change. And someone could go on a big losing streak or a big winning streak. But it looks like they're going to be in 6th or 7th. And they're going to play the 2nd or 3rd. And they're almost tied, those 2 teams. So we'll see what happens. So it looks like they're going to be on the road for the playoffs unless they can get up to 4th place. And that was, if they get up to 4th place, Rob, that would be a miracle. If they can get up to 4th place.
They would have home court advantage.
In order for them to get a home court advantage in the playoffs, they're 3.5 games behind both the Las Vegas Aces and the Seattle Storm, who are tied for 4th and 5th. So they'd have to get past both those teams to get 4th place. So that's going to be tough. Because they both have losing streaks.
They played the Aces twice, like a back-to-back.
They could get to 5th, and then they would have an easier game than the Lynx or the Sun. But I don't know. It's tough to say if the Lynx and the Sun are an easier matchup for the Las Vegas Aces, Rob. So I don't know. Seattle Storm plays well against the Fever. But I don't know, Rob. I would not want to play this team in the playoffs.
No, I wouldn't want to play the Fever right now. Yeah.
So I don't really believe too much in power rankings because I'm never sure what power rankings is supposed to be. Are you saying who's playing the best right now or who's playing the best right now plus how they played all year and what the record is? So I never know what the power rankings is really supposed to mean. And it's kind of meaningless because it's basically whatever happens in the playoffs happens in the playoffs. But they're, definitely I would say you have to rank them ahead of Phoenix right now. So they're definitely one of the top 6 teams in the league. And we'll see what happens in the playoffs. I'm not making any predictions because, when it comes down to it, they're going to be playing only good teams in the playoffs. So, but they're deadly, Rob. They're deadly. Yeah. Their defense continues to improve. Again, Rob, the only thing I have to say is that they still have to play better in terms of closing out on the 3-point shot. That's one thing the women in the WNBA can do is hit open threes.
Yeah.
So you've got to stop allowing that Cardoza needs to get more shots for Chicago Sky. That's what, if I was the coach. You don't like the coach for Chicago Sky. I don't blame you, Rob.
You see my face? You see my face?
I agree, Rob. So just we'll finish. We're gonna do this in another video, but Angel Reese had 5 points, and now the game was over with. They were down by 25. Indiana Fever took their starters out, including Temi. And what did Angel Reese do? She immediately went to the post and demanded the ball. And then she got her 10 points, and she got her double-double again, which apparently is whoop-de-doo. It made Stephen A. Smith over ESPN happy.
No, Mark, it's whoop-de-damn-do. That's what it is.
So she got her over 10 points. She ended up with over 10 points. But I was not impressed with Angel Reese's play during the game. I thought she did very little for her team in terms of making a big play or anything like that. She got her 11 rebounds and her 10 points. She didn't seem to do much. You know, she had 4 turnovers, Rob. That's not, for someone who doesn't handle the ball, that's not very impressive. It's a big win because even though the Chicago Sky I don't think is a great team right now with Kenny Carter injured and them trading away Marina Mabry. Again, they've lost to teams they should have beaten earlier in the year when they need to do that, like teams that are in the bottom half. They need to beat those teams as well as, because they're not always going to beat all the teams that are good. So they need to win the games that they're supposed to win. And so they're doing that now. So speaking of games that you're supposed to win, we're going to go live on Sunday at 4 on NBA TV against the Dallas Wings. And so they need to really not take this game lightly, Rob.
Yeah, Dallas blew out last night. They blew out the Minnesota League 94-76 last night. So
yeah. So that's not an easy win. It looks like an easy win if you look at the standings, but the way they're playing, and they got their best player back. She was playing for the German team in the Olympics. So let's see if they can get that win. That'd be a big win. So join us for that. And our normal live show is every Monday, but we won't do this on Labor Day because it's a holiday. And next one is going to be September 9th, 6 to 8 Eastern time. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please do so. Hit the notification bell when you do. We're going for 4,000 subscribers, and we need your help. If you like this video, hit the like button. And if you want to donate to this channel, there's super chats and super thanks down below. And there's a link to PayPal. And we'll see you in the next video.
Peace out.